Chapter 4. The Ultimate of Enlightenment. Section 1. What is enlightenment? Enlightenment is what human beings have always sought throughout the ages. Even if we do not know exactly what enlightenment is, we find that we have the desire to develop and improve ourselves further in our search for enlightenment. This cannot be denied. While enlightenment is particularly associated with religion, there is a fundamental and strong impulse to attain enlightenment in philosophy as well. The philosophical desire for enlightenment is a desire to attain the truth, the yearning to understand the mysteries and workings of the world in an intellectual and rational way. Whether or not Confucianism is a religion is open to discussion, but there is no doubt that Confucius taught the way to human perfection and the ultimate state of moral perfection. In other words, Confucius tried to guide humans to attain enlightenment from an educational standpoint by teaching them the way. In this chapter, I would like to mainly focus on religious enlightenment, which includes the philosophical desire to find the truth and the way to human perfection in a moral sense. The vital point in religious enlightenment is that it is discussed in connection with Buddha. In truth, enlightenment means to become closer to Buddha as we explore and discover the principles of the world that he created. In this respect, there is no limit to enlightenment. To put it another way, you can never say that you have fully attained enlightenment, because no matter how much effort you put forth, it's almost impossible to gain a complete understanding of the entire real world. You would need almost eternal effort to come even close to Buddha. This being said, however, there are different levels of enlightenment, so you could say that you have attained enlightenment of a certain level. There is also the highest level of enlightenment that human beings with physical bodies on earth can attain. Thus, I would like to elaborate on the different stages leading to the highest levels of enlightenment for human beings. Of all the great religious leaders and masters in the past that people today have kept record of, the one who pursued enlightenment most thoroughly was Shakyamuni Buddha, or Gautama Siddhartha, who preached the laws more than 2,500 years ago in India. From the time he attained enlightenment under a Bodhi tree and became Buddha, his level of enlightenment continued to rise until he passed away at age 80 under sal trees on the outskirts of Kushinagar. This is written in various records, but most of them capture only fragments of his philosophy and fail to convey the actual state of enlightenment he attained. The world of the mind is full of wonders. It has been more than a decade since I opened the door of my mind and learned how to communicate with the spirits in my subconscious mind. During this time, I came to have a clear understanding of what the saints of the past actually felt and did, as well as the thoughts they had and the enlightenment they attained. The world of the mind is truly mysterious. I can easily see the content of Shakyamuni Buddha's enlightenment that he attained under a Bodhi tree. Although it happened more than 2,500 years ago, I can feel it as if it were happening this very moment. Primarily, this chapter focuses on the enlightenment of Shakyamuni Buddha as I try to offer an opportunity to reconsider enlightenment in the world of today. I want to pass on the wisdom regarding enlightenment to future generations because the methodology to attain enlightenment is the legacy of past humankind and the hope for future humankind. Section 2. The Merit of Enlightenment. For what reasons exactly do human beings strive for enlightenment? Suppose you attain enlightenment, what would you be able to gain from it? Before dealing with these questions, we first need to consider the true purpose and mission of human beings. Why are human beings born on earth? Why are we born with physical bodies? These are the starting points. Before you were born as a human, you were living freely in the heavenly world as a spirit. In the heavenly world, you do not need to eat to stay alive. You do not need to earn money to support yourself. You do not need to endure the 9 months in your mother's womb, or always cry because you cannot understand things as an infant. You have no frustration over sexual issues in adolescence or conflicts between parent and child. You have no financial worries or distress of being used by people at work. You have no pain of meeting someone you don't like, or sorrow from parting with someone you love. You have no suffering of aging, being ill, losing your looks, or being abandoned by your children or grandchildren. You have no pain of parting with your spouse through death, or fear of your own death that you will eventually have to face. There is absolutely no such suffering in the heavenly world. In the heavenly world, our minds can be seen as clearly as through a glass window. Therefore, those with inharmonious thoughts cannot remain with others. Thus, you only meet wonderful people who understand each other every day. Everyone there loves and nurtures each other. The spirits there can also freely change their age and appearance as they like. When they need something, they only need to focus their will strongly to manifest it before their eyes. Everyone is earnestly undergoing spiritual discipline at his or her level, aiming to attain a higher awakening of the truth. Disharmonious spirits in hell can never be born into the earthly world as human beings. Their minds are full of combative and destructive thoughts, and spirits with such minds are not allowed to inhabit human bodies. What do spirits need to do to be reborn on earth? Firstly, they must be living in the fourth dimensional astral realm or fairy realm or higher. They need to awaken even slightly as heavenly beings, that they are spiritual beings and children of Buddha. Otherwise, they cannot be reborn into this world. Those who haven't at least completed the required level of self-reflection are not allowed to reincarnate. In this sense, being born on earth is, from the outset, a kind of trial for those in the heavenly world. And for those who have spent many years in hell and have finally finished their self-reflection, it is a chance to start over as human beings and try again. For this reason, this world is a training ground for the spirits who are living freely in the heavenly world. Being born into a physical body means actually being tested as to their spirituality and their Buddha nature. This world is a place where one's spiritual awakening is being thoroughly tested to see if it's truly genuine. It is easy to believe in Buddha when you are spiritually free, but as you lead a life bound by the rules of the third-dimensional material world, how much can you understand the rules of the fourth dimension and higher, the power of Buddha, and that the power is at work in this world? You are thoroughly tested on these points, and only when you pass these tests can you return to a higher world than the one you came from. Those who have long suffered in hell but have finally reached the state to self-reflect and attain the lowest level of enlightenment for humans as children of Buddha have a strong determination to be praiseworthy persons when they are born again on earth. However, being severely affected by the coarse vibrations of the third-dimensional material world, some will deeply indulge themselves in worldly desires without awakening to their true nature as children of Buddha, and end up descending to an even darker part of hell without returning to the heavenly world. This third-dimensional material world, or the phenomenal world, is indeed such a severe training ground for the soul. At the same time, though, there is hope. All kinds of people, including those who would never be able to encounter in the real world, can meet each other in this third-dimensional world. You have a chance to meet different kinds of people, including perhaps a great guiding spirit of light in the flesh, as well as someone whose mind is attuned to the devils of hell. Everyone begins on the same starting line when they are newborns. They are given a chance to start their lives afresh equally. Thus, the merit of enlightenment is that we can redo our lives. Section 3. Ways of Enlightenment. How then can human beings attain enlightenment? This is the next question. Enlightenment is for humans to further refine their spirituality and Buddha nature as they redo their lives, and when we think about how to do this, we will notice that we have already been provided with various opportunities in infinite ways. Various opportunities, in other words, mean the various ways of spiritual training. Not only Buddhism, but also Christianity, Shintoism, Confucianism, Taoism, and Islam all have some form of spiritual discipline. This is the very reason why people living on earth end up in the woods or a maze as they seek the way to Buddha. In the end, rather than wondering which way of spiritual training they should choose, they get caught up wondering which religion is true and correct. All major world religions are, in some way, manifestation of Buddha's light. Leaving aside the new local religions, religions that have never ceased to touch people's hearts for hundreds of thousands of years have leaders who continue to earn respect from people. The lives of such religious leaders have come from a brilliance that embodies Buddha's light. However, their brilliance shines with a somewhat different hue depending on the circumstances of the time, ethnicity, and culture of the region in which the teachings were given. Nevertheless, the teachings of the past are merely teachings of the past, and the coming new age will require new teachings. What is urgently needed is the appearance of new teachings. There is a need to search for new ways of spiritual training. Ways to attain enlightenment are, ultimately, means to make your state of mind one with Buddha's mind. They are the ways to live with Buddha's mind as your own. They explore how you can live in accordance with the truth. One way to do this is to practice the true Eightfold Path, and another is to practice the developmental stages of love. If you wish to take a Buddhist approach, I recommend that you live with the true Eightfold Path as your daily guideline because it teaches the universal Buddha's truth. It is the way to human perfection, which you cannot completely master, no matter how much you try. How many people are able to view right, think right, and speak right? How many people can act right and live right? And how many people have mastered making right effort, holding right will, and entering right meditation, which are the deep principles of Buddha's laws? In short, the way of the Eightfold Path is one specific method to attain enlightenment that you cannot master even in a lifetime. Just practicing the introductory level of right view and right speech of the Eightfold Path properly will certainly take at least 5 to 10 years. Once you feel competent practicing them, next, try concentrating on practicing right action and right living every day. If you can practice these 4 paths correctly, you should be able to attain enlightenment of the 6th-dimensional light realm. The practice of right thought and right effort will put you at the starting line of an advanced religious life. If you manage to build a mind that is as durable as steel, that enables you to live through any hardships you may face in life with an unshakable mind, you have achieved the state of Arhat. The Arhat state is a gateway to pass from the 6th-dimensional light realm to the 7th-dimensional bodhisattva realm. It is a state in which you have virtually finished developing yourself. Those who become anxious from slight remarks that people make, fly into a rage over trifling matters, or are driven by the desire for social status or fame, have yet to reach the state of Arhat. There are many contemporary religious leaders in Japan and around the world. But first, take a good look at their minds and deeds. Some concentrate only on gaining psychic powers, while others take advantage of the weaknesses of others to deceive them. Some even extort money from their followers by glaring at them and threatening that they will fall to hell or receive divine punishment. Such people are a long way from reaching the state of Arhat, the first step to becoming a bodhisattva of light. As long as one's mind is swayed by the desire for social status, fame, money, or by lust, anger, hatred, or complaints, he or she can never be called a divine religious leader. The basic way to enlightenment is to first aim to reach the state of Arhat, where your mind is undisturbed by worldly matters, is always pure and clear, is attuned to your guardian spirit, and it is where you can very clearly understand the feelings of others. Unless you pass through this gateway, you cannot go further with your spiritual training or enlightenment. So you first aim to attain the state of Arhat. In the enlightenment beyond this level lies the world of those who have awakened to the real truth. 4. Nyoshin. Deep enlightenment. What is the state of mind that is even deeper than the state of Arhat? The Arhat state is a stage where you have established firm faith in Buddha and developed an unshakable mind that does not waver in the face of worldly troubles. You will be receiving guidance from your guardian spirit as you live each day and know the feelings of the people you pass by as if you were seeing into their minds. In other words, at this stage you are very close to becoming complete as a human and have reached a level where you can teach and guide common people from a religious standpoint. Nonetheless, even at this stage, you are still at risk of falling because the Arhat state is merely a state in which you have gone through a self-reflection deep enough to be able to communicate with your guardian spirit in your subconscious mind. You have yet to deeply understand the minds of bodhisattvas of light. You haven't yet thoroughly grasped the levels, varieties, and profoundness of the teachings of Buddha's truth, so there is still high risk you may be deluded by heresies and false teachings. When inhabitants of the Tengu, goblins, and Sennin, hermit sorcerers' realms in rear heaven attain this state, they may exert a rudimentary level of divine supernatural power to psychically read things or cause spiritual phenomenon. What you must do is to make efforts to deepen your state of love and enlightenment. Never think little of the study of the truth. There is another reason why people fall from the state of arhat. Figuratively speaking, the arhat state of mind is like metal that begins to shine after rust is removed from the surface. But since it has yet to be rust-proofed, if you forget to polish it for some time, rust will soon develop again. For this reason, if you do not notice your mind getting rusty, but rather believe and act like you are a great teacher who has attained enlightenment, then you are in great danger. When your mind is shining brightly, its surface is very smooth, so even if any negative thoughts come at you, it has the power to repel them. But when your mind gets rusty, its surface becomes rough, so it traps many negative thoughts or things. Then there will be beings that drive pittance into this rough surface and hang ropes to climb up. The devils of hell. Various creatures from the world of total darkness will climb up the ropes that hang right to the bottom of hell. These include suffering spirits, animal spirits, and even devils. In this way, some religious leaders, in spite of having managed to reach the state of arhat, unfortunately allow evil to sneak into their minds, and they delude the public and lead them astray. This is the most dangerous pitfall. Therefore, it is crucial that you remove the rust from your mind to keep it rust-free every day. Polish it well until it's sparkling clean. This is crucial, for if your mind is left rusty and rough, you never know when a devil could drive a piton into it with a rope attached. You may try hard to knock the devil off, but you will have another piton driven in from behind. When this happens, there is little you can do. A simple act of spiritual purification or exorcism will not truly save you, because no matter how many times you exorcise the devils, they will keep creeping back in unless you remove the rust from your mind. You need to make it shine. This is why polishing your mind is crucial. If possible, add coating or do some rust proofing, because making it rust proof will enable you to attain higher enlightenment. The state of enlightenment above arhat is called Nyushin. Nyushin is a stage where you are able to receive guidance from the higher spirits of the spirit world, from those whose spirit's level is higher than that of your guardian spirit. In other words, at this stage, you can communicate spiritually with guiding spirits, meaning the high spirits residing in the 7th dimensional bodhisattva realm and higher. When you reach this state, you are virtually indomitable. Except under extreme conditions, you will no longer fall into the hands of those in the world of devils, because once you start receiving guidance from Tathagatas and Bodhisattvas, you will emit a stronger light that keeps evil away. When you attain the state of Nyushin, you are always humble and show no arrogance. Your everyday concerns are mainly about how to be of service to others. In other words, how to contribute to the world or save those who are lost. Most of the time, conceit is the cause of people's fall from the state of arhat. But once you achieve the indomitable state of Nyushin, egoism and self-centeredness will disappear, so your mind is always serene. It is at this stage that you can practice right will and right meditation in the truest sense. The state of Nyushin has another attribute. In fact, as you approach the state of Avalokitesvara, you will be able to readily know the condition of people who are hundreds of miles away. For example, just by looking at someone's name, even if the person is on the opposite side of the globe, you can instantly grasp a person's current state of mind, suffering, and the spirits possessing him or her, as well as the person's past life, the life before that, and more, and even the future lives. Even so, you must keep deepening your love and elevate your wisdom in order to prevent yourself from solely developing the ability of clairvoyance as senins of rear heaven do. Avalokitesvara. Nyushin is the state of mind of bodhisattvas, who are experts in the esoteric principles of the spirit world. It even leads to the Tathagata realm. There are different levels of Nyushin, but generally the level of Nyushin above arhat implies the state of mind of the bodhisattva. This not only means those people who have attained enlightenment in the earthly world, but also those who share a similar state in the other world, or the real world. However, just being spirits in the other world does not mean that they are all-knowing. Of course, the scope of what they can understand or grasp varies depending on their level of awareness and enlightenment. A typical example of this is foresight. Any spirit of the fourth dimension or higher in the real world can foresee things that have yet to happen or future events, although the extent of this ability varies on the spirit. But when people of the third dimensional world on Earth are involved, there can often be a problem because things sometimes turn out different in terms of time or place. To explain further, there are two reasons. The first is that there are fixed events and fluid events in regards to future events. Fixed events are what we have already been decided in the higher realms of the spirit world and cannot be changed except under extremely rare conditions. Fluid events, on the other hand, are merely what are likely to happen if things keep going the way they are going now. So, these events can be changed by the efforts of people on Earth and of their guardian and guiding spirits. Thus, the spirits in the heavenly world sometimes cannot predict accurately. The second reason is that, depending on the levels of consciousness and areas of strengths and weaknesses of the heavenly spirits, their predictions will vary in precision. Generally speaking, it is true that the higher one's spiritual level, the more accurate one's foresight is. Some spirits even specialize in foresight as their profession, and there is a higher chance that their predictions of such experts are correct. Now I would like to describe Avalokitesvara, a state of enlightenment higher than that of Nichiren. The Heart Sutra starts with Avalokitesvaro Bodhisattva Gambriham Prajnaparamita Karyam Karamano Vyavalokitati, which translates as, when Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva has deepened his state of spiritual training and has accessed the treasure of the inner subconscious. Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva is not the name of a person. It is the state of a bodhisattva who has attained the Avalokitesvara level, a level with the ability to see through everything by advancing in spiritual training. Bodhisattva is a level of souls that have roughly completed the Hinayana stage of building themselves and have entered the Mahayana stage, that is to say, souls that have stood up for salvation, wanting to save people. Even in this state of bodhisattva, however, you still have personal worries and suffering, so your condition to exert divine supernatural power or dharma power is not constant. But as you further refine your state and advance to attain the state of Brahma, the highest level of enlightenment in the bodhisattva realm, you will become able to exert divine powers consistently regardless of mild illness, minor mishaps, and trivial human relationship problems. Put simply, Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva is the state of Brahma, and in the real world it refers to souls that have reached the realm between Bodhisattva realm and the Tathagata realm, the spiritual zone that can be called either the seventh dimension or the eighth dimension. At this stage, although perhaps not sufficiently, spirits have acquired all 6 divine supernatural powers. The 6 divine supernatural powers are Tengen, spiritual light, Tenui, spiritual hearing, Tashin, mind reading, Shakumoyo, fate reading, Jinsoku, astral level, and Rohin, extinction of worldly desires. Let me explain each power. Tengen is the ability to see spiritual things. It is the power to see auras of living people or the spirits possessing them, or even to see through to the other world, or the real world. Tenni is the ability to hear voices or spirits of the other world. The ability to channel spiritual messages is one form of this power. Tashin is the ability to read other people's minds and to readily understand their feelings. Shukumayo is the ability to not only see your own future, but also the ability to read people's thought tape, to readily understand their fate and destiny. Of course, you will come to know their past lives as well. Jinsoku is also known as out-of-the-body experience. With this ability, you can see and hear the spirit world, all while leaving your physical body on Earth, and you can use teleportation. Rohin is the state described when Confucius declared, "I followed my heart's desire without overstepping the line," in the Analects. It is the power to transcend all worldly desires at will without their controlling you. The power is also the ability to make efforts and discipline yourself to keep removing the rust from your mind very thoroughly, even after you have acquired spiritual powers. Avalokitesvara bodhisattvas are those who have begun to develop the above-mentioned 6 divine supernatural powers in some way. This is clearly a higher state of Nichiren, where you can read the minds of a multitude of people simultaneously or readily understand the mind of someone who is far away. Section 6. One is many, many are one. Now I would like to talk about the enlightenment attained after your spiritual training as a human reaches the deepest level of right thought, right effort, right will, and right meditation, or the start of love incarnate in the developmental stages of love. To put it differently, in this section, I will delve right into the enlightenment of the Tathagata realm. Up until the state of Bodhisattva, your recognition of the soul is still somewhat bound by human forms or appearances. Spirits are essentially energy body without shape, or intelligences without appearance. However, after being born countless times as human beings in the long years of reincarnation, many spirits become used to being restrained by their image as human-like souls and are unable to function freely as they originally could. In short, in the 7th dimensional Bodhisattva realm, the spirits are still undergoing spiritual training in human form. Humans have 2 arms and 2 legs, wear clothes, have a hairstyle, and have facial features. This is the only way that most bodhisattvas can recognize themselves. They feel uncomfortable unless they have a human appearance, even in the other world. So although they are highly virtuous and possess very strong leadership skills, their spiritual power is limited due to their humanness. However, things are different in the 8th dimensional Tathagata realm. Spirits of this realm know that they are not souls in human form. For them, souls in human forms are simply memories of their residing in human bodies in the long years of reincarnation. Tathagatas know that spirits are intellectual energy, or shapeless bodies of light. They not only understand this from a knowledge basis, but they know it from actual experience in their lives. Suppose a psychic living on Earth could send his or her soul on to the 8th dimension Tathagata realm while leaving his or her physical body here on Earth. What would the soul see? To a person from Earth, the spirits in the 8th dimensional Tathagata realm would appear in human form as in their previous life on Earth, so they would look familiar to the person. They would then invite the guest from Earth into their homes and would offer him or her coffee or wine, which would be quite delicious with the fragrance that cannot be found anywhere on Earth. Then the psychic would report the occurrence as follows. The 8th dimensional Tathagata realm is truly an amazing world. The spirits there are like gods. The streets are paved with rubies, and the buildings are adorned with diamonds in many places. Their drinks have flavors that are so rich they cannot be found on Earth. The table was made of shining marble, and there were 4 magnificent crystal pillars in the corners of the room. Emanuel Swedenborg, a famous psychic in modern Europe, reported his visit to the spirit world in a similar way, but this kind of scene is due to the lack of spiritual awareness of people like him. If we look harder and examine the scene, the jewel-encrusted buildings and streets will disappear, and the Tathagata will simply be standing there alone smiling. If we look even harder through our spiritual eyes, the Tathagata will also disappear, and there will only be a giant mass of light. In other words, Tathagatas are just making the world understandable using rubies, diamonds, and other jewels to show hospitality to a person from an earthly dimension. In this way, the enlightenment of Tathagatas has reached a stage where they can recognize themselves as formless entities. So, if there is anyone living on Earth who has attained the enlightenment of Tathagata, he or she should be well aware of the law of the Tathagata realm. One is many, many are one. Put differently, in the world of Tathagatas, you cannot recognize one as something objective. So, what you recognize as one can be 10 or 10,000, while what you recognize as 1,000 can be one. Consciousness, which is absolute existence, does not appear as a set number. It can appear in as many a number of ways it will work. Only the unifying consciousness knows its true state. Let me make this easier to understand. If one Tathagata has 10 tasks, it will manifest itself into 10 people, and if it has 1,000 tasks, it will appear as 10,000 people. But even if it splits into 10,000 people, there is a unifying consciousness that recognizes those people as one. Kitaro Nishida, 1870 to 1945, founder of the Kyoto School of Philosophy in Japan, seems to have been aware of this law of the Tathagata realm as a result of his philosophical study. He was originally from the Tathagata realm, which is naturally why the beings in his own subconscious are telling him that such a world exists. This eighth dimension is a world where absolutely contradictory self-identity is a reality. The realm where what may appear to the eyes as diverse and even contradictory can be intuitively unified as one. This is the Tathagata realm. Apparently, the philosopher Kotaro Nishida partially experienced the enlightenment of the Tathagata realm while he was still alive on Earth. Section 7. The enlightenment of the Sun realm. The enlightenment of the Tathagata realm is the enlightenment of one is many, many are one, that surpasses the bodily senses of humans. It is a state where you will fully awaken to the truth that spirits are particles of Buddha's light, energy, form without shape, and intelligence without appearance. This state is almost the highest state that human beings living on Earth can attain. The Earth spirit group has tens of billions of spirits, but there are only a few, less than 500 spirits, in the eighth-dimensional Tathagata realm. This shows how hard it is to attain the enlightenment of Tathagata. The enlightenment of Tathagata transcends the duality of good and evil to the stage of unification and sublation. So, refining yourself through life training alone is not enough. You need to have the clear reasoning ability and the penetrating power of enlightenment to understand and master the magnificent drama and laws of the universe. Who are the spirits in the eighth-dimensional Tathagata realm who are born in Japan? Apart from those in the Age of Gods, they include Shotoku Tayashi, Prince Shotoku, from 574 to 622, from just before the Taika reforms in the mid-7th century, the Buddhist monk Kukai, 774 to 835 of the Heian period, and the aforementioned philosopher Kotaro Nishida of the Showa period. There are a few more besides them. There are fewer than 500 Tathagatas in the eighth-dimensional Tathagata realm, which is roughly divided into 4 levels. The lowest level is the upper part of the Brahma realm, where about 40 Tathagatas reside. Next is the semi-divine realm, with about 120 Tathagatas. Above that is the light divine realm, with about 280 Tathagatas. And the highest level of the eighth dimension is the sun realm, in the strict sense. In a broader sense, the sun realm includes the cosmic realm of the ninth dimension, but in the strict sense of the sun realm, there are about 20 grand Tathagatas who are halfway between the eighth and ninth dimensions. Who are the grand Tathagatas in the sun realm? In the Shinto line, there are 3 gods: Ame no Minakunushi no Kami, Ame no Totachi no Kami, and Kamu Mushi no Kami. In the Christian line, there are the Augustine and Thomas Aquinas, Lao Tzu and Chang Tzu of Taoism, and Mo Tzu of Moism are in the sun realm as well, as are Apollo from the ancient Greek myths and the Greek philosophers Socrates and Plato. In the Buddhist line, there are Akshabhaya Tathagata and Bahai Shigaru Tathagata, along with others. Muhammad of Islam seems to be in the divine light realm, which is 1 realm below the sun realm. So what is the enlightenment of the sun realm that all these spirits have in common? In short, it is no longer the enlightenment of a human. It is not a state that can be attained by personal efforts. Inhabitants of the sun realm are given the status of a god. You cannot reach the levels of enlightenment of the sun realm and above through spiritual training as a human. These spirits belong to the esteemed ranks of the grand spirits and are revered as the primordial god in most religions. On what grounds am I saying that their level of enlightenment is beyond the enlightenment of humans? The spirits in the sun realm are directly involved in planning the evolution of humanity on Earth. It is mainly these spirits of the sun realm who help the grand spirits of the ninth-dimensional cosmic realm. They are the ones planning, designing, and carrying out in a tangible way the blossoming of civilizations on Earth, innovation of religion, and the rise of new eras, etc. Section 8. The Enlightenment of Shakyamuni Buddha, the Great Enlightenment. Before I move on to the enlightenment of the ninth dimensional cosmic realm, let me first talk about the enlightenment that Gauta Siddhartha, or Shakyamuni Buddha, attained in India more than 2,000 years ago. At the age of 29, Gauta Siddhartha renounced the world. Then, at the age of 35, after 6 years of austere and ascetic training, he left this practice and attained enlightenment under a Bodhi tree. After about a week of meditation, he entered into a deep state of meditation from around 1 o'clock at night. In this state, he awakened to the following truth. For many years, I barely ate or drank. I have practiced asceticism, believing that I could take a great leap spiritually and attain enlightenment by mortifying my physical body to its absolute limit. 6 years have already passed since I fled from Kapilavastu, leaving my wife, Yoshodhara, and my son, Rahula, and walking out on my father, King Suddhodana, who wanted me to succeed him to the throne. When I lived in Kapilavastu, I was strong and muscular, adept at both military and literary arts. But look at me now, my ribs stand out, I have sunken eyes, and I am just skin and bone. If tormenting our bodies is the purpose of soul training in life, then what would be the point of having life in physical bodies at all? If the primordial Buddha wanted human beings to deny the flesh, wouldn't that imply that those who commit suicide are the most awakened? But what can be achieved through suicide? All rules in the great universe exist through the chain of cause and effect. If we sow a bad seed, we will surely have to reap a bad fruit. If we create another cause of suffering by committing suicide, what awaits us would no doubt be bitter anguish in hell in the other world. The practice of austere and ascetic training that tortures the physical body is none other than the act of gradual suicide. The state of Buddha is a state of tranquility, but there is no tranquility in ascetic training. The cause of enlightenment cannot be found in ascetic training. What I have gained as a result of my 6 years of training are a horrible appearance that shocks people and harsh eyes that pierce sharply. Through ascetic training, I only acquired a strict attitude. My harsh, piercing eyes show absolutely no love or mercy. How can I be truly kind and compassionate toward others when I cannot find peace of mind in myself and have no sense of happiness in myself? But what exactly is the sense of happiness within me? When I lived as a prince in Kapilavastu, everyone cherished me, and I had all the money, women, and luxuries that I could ask for. But was there a sense of happiness in my heart? I was actually filled with dullness as I lived in the arms of comfort. There were always hunger and thirst in my heart. My mind was constantly wavering with inner conflicts, entangled with all kinds of desires and intentions of other people. I was destined to be king one day, so I would have had to lead my people, go to war against neighboring lands, and cause terrible bloodshed as a result. To seek worldly status and fame only leads to emptiness. My life in Kapilavastu was not at all the life of true happiness. I felt spiritually unfulfilled, and I lived in increasing anxiety and frustration. Happiness for human beings is found not in stagnation and laziness. Happiness for human beings is found in daily spiritual progress. We find true happiness not in worldly success. True happiness for a human born as a child of the primordial Buddha is found in the improvement of our spirituality and Buddha nature according to the will of the primordial Buddha. True enlightenment and true happiness for humans, the children of the primordial Buddha, are found neither in the extravagant life of royalty nor in extreme austere and ascetic training. We cannot find true enlightenment, true happiness, or true peace of mind in a life of pleasing our bodies in an extreme way or a life of hurting our bodies in an extreme way. The true way of living for human beings is to abandon both extremes and to see the truth in the middle way. Only when we live a balanced life can we find the middle way, and in the middle way there is brought forth a world of great harmony where we are not bound by pain or pleasure. The life that humans are truly aspiring to live is a life of great harmony. When all people abandon the extremes of pain and pleasure, enter the middle way, and practice the eightfold path of right view, right thought, right speech, right action, right living, right effort, right will, and right meditation, we can create a true kingdom of the mind as well as a true Buddha land. So, true happiness for humans is to be found in our spiritual joy and making spiritual progress in our daily lives. Our sense of happiness will increase in the course of practicing and mastering the depths of the Eightfold Path. Section 9. The Enlightenment of Shakyamuni Buddha, Entering Nirvana. In the previous section, I wrote about Shakyamuni's state of mind when he attained great enlightenment at the age of 35. The content of his great awakening that took place 2,500 years ago unfolds before my eyes as the pen writes the words. I believe it could easily take up an entire book if I were to describe all his enlightenment. But for now, I will skip over 45 years of Shakyamuni's teachings and focus on the time just before he passed away, that is, the enlightenment or state of Shakyamuni at the age of 80, by writing out his inner voice. Under sal trees in Kushinagar, Shakyamuni Buddha laid on his right side with his right arm folded under his head and his left hand on his ailing stomach. As he was about to enter nirvana, he was thinking what follows. Ever since I attained enlightenment at the age of 35, for 45 years, I explored goodness and taught what the right principles are. But now the time has come for me to leave my physical body. Oh, my physical body, which has become feeble with age, everything in this world is transient. I have no attachment to you whatsoever. Indeed, for more than 40 years, the way to Buddha that I taught and the way human beings should live that I have shown are the laws, which are indeed my true body. Ah, my disciples, you did very well for so many years. You worked very hard from attending to my personal needs to spreading the laws. Thanks to your efforts, my order has become a large religious group with more than 5,000 renunciant monks. There are also hundreds of thousands of people, a countless number, who follow my teachings throughout India. This is all thanks to your continuous efforts in spreading the laws, even as you fought against religious persecution or cleverly avoided the enemies of the truth. If it were not for your help, my laws would not have spread so far. Keep working just as diligently as you have been doing without neglecting your duties. Sariputra, you passed away a few years ago, and I am leaving this world soon, so I will see you again. We can enjoy another of our talks face to face. You were such a great help to me. As the best in wisdom, you were always a good listener, and you made it easy for me to preach. Your odd questions at times made me smile wryly, but who knows how much you were appreciated by the people who didn't have the courage to ask me questions. Mahamadhyayana, although I knew it was part of your spiritual discipline to persevere, I was unable to hold back my tears when I heard that you, known as the best in divine powers, had been attacked and murdered by followers of a misguided religion. I can see you coming on a shining cloud to take me up. Mahamadhyayana, you, the best at debating, were always able to explain my teachings in ways that others could understand. You will continue to sow seeds of the Dharma in remote areas after I'm gone. Spread my teachings in Avanti and its surrounding areas in West India. Subhuti, you, the best at understanding void, never became attached to material things and gained a deep understanding of my teachings on egolessness and void. May you continue your diligent efforts. Aniruddha, you once fell asleep during one of my lectures, so I unusually scolded you harshly. Then you meditated night and day until you became blind. Fortunately, you have learned to see through your spiritual eyes, becoming known as the best in Tenjin. You were once so young and pure, but it looks like you have grown gray. Purnama Triamputra, from the Shakya clan, you are very clever, enough to be called the best at preaching the Dharma. You and the other Purna, who plans to travel west to spread my teachings, will become good rivals. Mahakaspaya, you will not see me passing and will arrive here at Kushinagar a week later. You will be furious with Ananda, who carelessly served me poison mushrooms and so hurried me to death. You will next try to expel him from the order and will cry uncontrollably over my death. You, known as the best in spiritual discipline, were always meticulous about the methods of religious practice, but after my death you may do away with petty precepts. Upali, you were the best in observing the rules. You have always tried to do your work with great care, and you were courteous to everyone you met. Although you were from a lower caste, You remained undaunted and devoted yourself to spiritual discipline among others who were of aristocratic origin. You did well. Rahula. Although you were my real son, you strived to train privately under Sariputra. As a result, you were called the best in hidden training, but you left this world much too early. You were expected to succeed me, and it was very unfortunate to lose you so soon. I could not do anything for you as a father, but I wonder if you are living happily over there. Jivaka, the best and famous doctor. You have cured my illnesses many times, but this time there is nothing that you could do. All things are transient, just as you cannot stop the flow of a river, you cannot extend my life on earth any longer. Ah, when I think of you, my beloved disciples, I cannot stop thinking about what will happen to you after I leave this world. My disciples, remember this well. Although I will be leaving this world shortly, the teachings I am leaving behind will be passed on for thousands of years to serve as nourishment for people's souls. My eternal disciples, remember my last words well. My life is like the full moon. Clouds may cover the moon and hide it from you, but it indeed continues to shine its brilliance behind the clouds. Likewise, life shines eternally. It never comes to an end. From now on, even after I have left this world, keep living with the teachings I have given you over the past 45 years as nourishment for your souls. With my teachings as the nourishment for your soul, light up your own mind by yourself, illuminating your way ahead without others having to light it up for you. Light the torch of Dharma within you and live unwaveringly. The teachings I have taught you over many, many years are the teachings to cultivate yourself. They are also the teachings to save others while you cultivate yourself. Even after my passing, never forget to light your inner torch and live with the Dharma as your guide. My disciples, these are my last words. All things in this world will pass. Without slacking, complete your discipline. These were the thoughts of Shakyamuni Buddha as he passed away. In his last moments, even the great Shakyamuni Buddha could hardly speak, but some disciples whose windows of the mind were open were able to hear his inner voice through their spiritual power. Some of what they heard was later recorded in the Nirvana Sutra. Section 10. The Enlightenment of the Ninth Dimension. Shakyamuni's level of enlightenment surpassed that attained by Jesus Christ and was the highest level of enlightenment of humankind. Unfortunately, however, even after spending 45 years teaching his disciples, Shakyamuni Buddha could not fully pass on the enlightenment about the great universe that he had attained. Even though they were his disciples, hardly any of them attained the enlightenment of Tathagata while alive, so most of them found it difficult to understand how the great universe was created or understand its multidimensional structure. What is more, India in those days was in constant war. In such a situation, Shakyamuni would not have been able to save people's minds by teaching something that was very much advanced for their time. This is why Shakyamuni focused on the teachings to raise people's awareness to the state of Arhat through the Eightfold Path. In essence, the enlightenment of the ninth-dimensional cosmic realm must fulfill the following three conditions. 1. To be awakened to the laws from every perspective and be able to preach them in a way that is suited to all people. 2. To also be awakened to creation, that is to say, how the universe came to be and the history of the earth. 3. To be awakened to the laws of the multidimensional world of the fourth dimension and higher. As for the first condition, Shakyamuni excelled at preaching the truth in a way that was well suited to each person. As for the second condition, he awakened to creation when he attained enlightenment under a Bodhi tree and had the mystical experience of his spirit body becoming one with the great universe. As for the third condition, in other words, the laws of the universe or the rules of the real world, he expressed them in his teachings of the law of cause and effect and the law of karma. Of course, with the enlightenment of the ninth dimension come all of the six divine supernatural powers of the highest level, as well as the ability to see through past, present, and future lives. However, at an early stage, Shakyamuni already understood the danger of seekers of the truth becoming obsessed with supernatural powers, and in order to prevent people from falling into delusional beliefs, he did not use spiritual powers very much, with the exception of mind reading. In Chapter 1, I mentioned that there are 10 great guiding spirits of light who have attained the enlightenment of the ninth dimension, a very high realm of the spirit world. Here are their current roles as of 1994. In front heaven, number 1, Shakyamuni or El Cantare. To create a new era and build a new civilization, the highest grand spirit of the Earth Spirit Group. 2, Jesus Christ or Amor. To decide the guiding policies of the heavenly world. 3, Confucius or Therabim. To design the evolution of the Earth Spirit Group, interacts with other star clusters. 4, Manu. To deal with ethnic issues. 5, Maitreya. To disperse Buddha's light in many ways. 6, Newton. Science and technology. 7, Zeus. Art, such as music, fine art, and literature. 8, Zoroaster. Moral perfection. Rear heaven. 9, Moses, Moria. To command the forces dedicated to the dissolution of hell, also to bring about miraculous phenomenon. And 10, Enlil. To guide the sorcery realm, Arabia, the yoga realm, India, the Senin realm, China, and the Senin and Tengu realms in Japan. It belongs to the line of harsh gods and gods of vengeance. The core consciousness of El Cantare is now present on earth. So, in the ninth dimension, Jesus Christ is the main decision-maker in place of El Cantare. It is planned for Jesus Christ to descend again in about 400 years. By then, the ocean floor where the current Bermuda Triangle is located will resurface, forming the new Atlantis continent, which will include the current location of Canada. The southern half of what is currently North America will have sunk beneath the ocean. For now, it is planned that Jesus will be reborn in the new Atlantis continent. There, he is expected to preach the truth mainly based on the principles of love and justice for the new space age. In this chapter, I have covered up to the enlightenment of the ninth dimension, but of course, above this is the enlightenment of the 10th dimension. The consciousnesses in the 10th dimension are 3 planetary consciousness: grand sun consciousness, moon consciousness, and earth consciousness. But if we define enlightenment to be that of spirits that are able to reside in the human body, then we can leave out the enlightenment of the 10th dimension. In addition, if I were to state the enlightenment of the 10th dimension, it is enlightenment with all human elements removed. That is to say, the beings in the 10th dimension are solely gigantic masses of light that have consciousness with purpose.